We're tracking this gruesome news coming in from Rivers State about a man who has committed suicide after killing his 4 children and setting his house on fire.
Well, the man was identified as 35-year-old Patrick Achibong. He was said to have locked up his 4 children in a room, strangled them before hanging himself. The resident of Alessa in the Eleme local government area also set the house he occupied as a tenant on fire before taking his own life. Let's now bring in our correspondent Uche Ukuru from Eleme, who's been, of course, monitoring the activities there in Eleme. Uche, well, first, we'd like you to describe to us what the mood is in Eleme at the moment after that very unfortunate incident.
Yes, indeed, it's a very unfortunate incident that has befallen the people of Eleme community, Alessa Eleme community to be precise, here in the state. According to the people whom I've spoken to since morning when we got here, this sort of incident has never happened before in this community. This is the first of its kind in this particular area. Of course, there have been 1 or 2 cases and incidents of violence and killings, but nothing like this where a man would take the life of his own children, members of his own family, and after an attempt on the life of his wife. So it's a one of a kind experience for the people of Eleme local government area. Very, very strange indeed. Everyone is very, very sad here. It's a very sad one for everybody. It's a huge loss because the culprit in this particular situation didn't just die. He took his own life after taking that of 4 children. 4 children who were seemed to be very close to members of this community, especially neighbors. So it's a very sad one for everybody.
Right, Uche, you mentioned earlier that he also attempted taking the life of his wife. Could you tell us a bit of the relationship that existed between the two? What are you hearing?
Now, the 35-year-old victim, now this, I got that age, that figure from the police whom I've spoken to also earlier in the day. The police says the man is 35 years old. But coming back to, also, I think I should also mention that right now I am in the compound where that particular incident took place in the very early hours of Tuesday morning. I think about midnight, between 1 a.m. and 2 a.m. I'm right at that particular compound. To my left now is the room one of the most affected rooms that was set ablaze by the victim. I wouldn't call him a victim now, maybe a victim of his own actions because he is late now. To my left is the particular room, the most affected. It was set ablaze before he went to that other behind me. You can see that brown metal gate there, currently under lock and key. He went at that particular section of this compound, houses the bathroom and the toilet. Now he set this room ablaze, the house ablaze, and then walked into that compartment over there. Hung himself, tied a rope on the roof, and hung himself to that roof. So it's a very tragic one. But to answer your question directly about the kind of relationship that he had with his wife, it was a very troubled marriage, I must tell you, because everyone that I have spoken to, from the landlord to neighbors to eyewitnesses and others who have spoken off camera, this man and his wife, throughout the 8, 9, 10 years of their marriage, they have never known peace. It's been from one quarrel to another, from one quarrel to another. So what happened on Tuesday morning was just the climax of a very frosty relationship that existed between man and wife.
All right, Uche, going through social media, some of the comments people have been making, some have suggested, could it be that the man was not the true biological father of the 4 children? Are you aware of any such information that could, because we're trying to unravel what could have led a man to do a thing like that?
Well, it's a very mind-boggling situation here, I must tell you. But about what could have driven a man to take such extreme actions. Yes, everyone I have spoken to have peddled, for now, I would call those rumors. Everyone that I've spoken to have said, yes, indeed, in the cause of the quarrel. Now, this is actually what eyewitnesses are saying, that a quarrel ensued between man and wife at that late hour of the night. And then in the course of that quarrel, the man got information that he wasn't the biological father of the 4 children. The oldest is about 8 years. The youngest is about 1 year and maybe 6-8 months, 1 year and a few months old. Now the man got him, it was said, it is alleged that the wife told the man in the midst of that quarrel that he was not the biological father of the children, and then the reaction of the man to that was to locate a cutlass, chase the woman out of the house. The woman ran for her dear life, escaped being killed at that time, but the man, unable to attack the wife, got back to the compound, locked the children up, strangulated them, and then, laid them down on the floor just in front of me, few steps away. So that's the situation. But there's another theory now that witnesses are telling me. If you look to the floor now, if you look to the floor, you would see some alcoholic drinks, some sachets of alcoholic drinks. There's also a loaf of bread that is half eaten, and a few items here. There is also another theory that the man may have poisoned the children with these meals. Now, this information is coming from neighbors and eyewitnesses. I should add that the man possibly poisoned the children with these drinks. And then had some alcohol to get high, because I can see some drinks here in some small bottles and sachets, got very tipsy, and then and I was able to take his own life, after being intoxicated. So that's the theory. That is one theory from some group of eyewitnesses. But the major and biggest story we are hearing is that the children were strangulated. Now, that particular theory is being buttressed as a result of the fact that I think one of the children had feces, coming out from the anus, as at the time when eyewitnesses located the bodies. So people are more inclined to believing the theory that the children were strangulated. But I have with me here the landlord. Kindly join me over here. He's the landlord to Mr. Patrick, who is the man at the center of all this controversy right now. I'll just ask him a few questions to, tell us how he feels about what has happened, sir. It's a very sad incident. Accept our condolences, but how do you feel about what has happened, sir?
I feel bad. I don't feel happy about it, because this place, I gave him to him free. Does not pay me 10 kobo. He comes to my place and come plantain and come for them to feed. So he's paying me with a bad coin for what I've done for him. He's free of charge. In this place, stays here free for 2 years now. I've not collected 10 kobo from him. So that's how I'm not happy with the incident for paying me back with a bad coin.
So what could have led him to commit this atrocity, as many people have described it, from an informed perspective, as someone who is close to the family? What do you think could have driven him to such extremes?
Well, I feel when a man is hearing very bad information about himself, he feel bad about it. Just like
when you say bad information, what do you mean?
Bad is in the sense of that. When the woman is making a statement, a very positive, negative statement, that is not the biological father of the children. And looking at the children, you see the mark or the positive side of the man in the children too. Even the behavior, you see the daughter was very close to the father since they came here. So I don't know what to say about them. Either it's the remote controls him, because we learned that his mother died on the madness, something, affairs of that madness. So whether it's a repercussion of the foundation. No?
Okay, now everyone in this compound, including yourself, knew that he wasn't living in peace with his wife? Why was nothing done to intervene? Something could have been done to prevent what has happened.
We have been talking. We have been going to police. What do you want us to do? We have been going to police. Like the day he carried machete on the woman and cut his hand. We went to police. We reported to police. Police intervened. So we thought he had forgotten everything. And he paid for the police said he should take him to the hospital. He paid the doctor that treated the woman. So what can we do again? I thought he had forgotten about it. Even he came to my place where I'm living behind Deeper Life. And I had some plantain. I cut one bunch for him. I thought he's a little free man.
Okay, what does he do for a living, sir?
He's a carpenter. He's a carpenter. A bricklayer, for that matter. He does every sort of work, any type of work that he comes across.
Okay. All right.
Man.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. We continue to condole with you. Now, this draws fresh attention to issues of domestic violence. As you have heard the landlord of the victim, one of the victims, say here that this particular man has always had a frosty relationship that has led to violence against his wife. So I think in the coming days now, this particular incident will draw fresh attention to issues of mental health and domestic violence.
Really.
All right, Uche, just quickly before you go, what about the bodies? What has happened to the bodies at the moment?
The 5 bodies have been deposited at a mortuary about 5-10 minutes from where we are right now, while investigations continue, according to the police.
All right, really pathetic story coming from Rivers at this time. Uche Okoro, live for us from Eleme. Thank you for the updates.